Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a little bit of a look at some cards that I translated walking down Oxford Street in London. I'm not from London. If I was from London, that'd be a lot less impressive, but I'm not. So hopefully it is. We've got some more new Paradox Pokemon. They are not going away anytime soon. And these look fun. And I want to start off with Brute Bonnet here, because this Brute Bonnet looks genuinely proper job legit. I really, really like this Brute Bonnet. One of those ones I'm walking down the road, I get the translation, I'm like, hang on a second. This seems a little bit good now, doesn't it? Yes, it does. As always, done a translation myself, but check with a lovely Anton Boulay to make sure I'm not being stupid. And shout out to Dan Xiao for just awesome artwork. So basic Pokemon, 120 HP, all well and good. Single energy, poison, nobody really cares. Yes, I know we can combine it with Radiant Hisuian Sneasler and it does a non-zero amount of damage. Nah, mate. This is not what we're getting excited about. I'm not going to talk about this attack anymore. We're done. The second attack, however. Oh, my word. I like the second attack very much indeed. What we've got here is free Darkness Energy, 50 damage base, plus 50 damage for each damage counter on the defending Pokemon. This adds up like really quickly. This adds up a lot quicker than I think most people might expect. So let's say for argument's sake you do 5 damage to them. Well then you're essentially doing 6 times 50. 5 damage counters plus 50 base, that's 300. Plus the 5 that's already on them, that's 350. That is enough to KO literally anything that we've seen so far. So if you can do 5 damage, or 50 damage, 5 damage counters, to any of your opponent's Pokemon, all of a sudden Brute Bonnet is in range of KOing them. Literally anything. Yeah, that's a lot. The massive downside here, of course, is the energy. It is free energy on 120 HP Pokemon. That is, frankly, far from ideal. Or would be, were it not for the fact that we're talking about a basic Darkness Ancient Pokemon. Because Dark Patch is still in the format. So you can use Dark Patch, the item card, to accelerate all that energy. Jobs are good 'un. Or you can use, for instance, Professor Sada's Vitality, which will accelerate 2 energy. Now, only one can actually go onto Brute Bonnet, but it can be one onto 2 different Brute Bonnets. And of course, here it's kind of nice. It's just Dark Patch, Professor Sada, attach for turn. Yes, I am well aware that it is a lot. I understand that it is a lot. But we have legit ways to do it. So it's actually not that bad at all. And the thing is, I don't think this is an every turn kind of Pokemon. I don't think this is one you're attacking with every single turn by any stretch. I think you muck around with a bunch of other ancient Pokemon, and then this one just comes in later. If you want an early game Pokemon to swing for decent damage, you've got the single prize Roaring Moon. You've got the Koraidon. Although, just to be clear, with free Darkness Energy being needed, this really is a kind of Pokemon where there is a strong argument that what you should be going for here is a pure Darkness deck. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying that is an argument. But, you know, Roaring Moon, 2 energy, 70 damage. Anything that gets hit by this will then be hit for 400 damage by your Brute Bonnet. Plus the 70 that's already on there. So you really don't need to worry. Honestly, Roaring Moon does too much as a base amount of damage. We don't have a good spreading attack on an ancient Pokemon right now. It doesn't exist. If we ever get one, this becomes kind of ridiculous. But honestly here, we got the new Ting-Lu coming out. If you're willing to play a bit of fighting energy, and again, you've got Pokemon in Ancient that are, you know, working quite nicely with it, that does 30, and then if there's a stadium card in play, you discard it and do 30 to each of your opponent's bench. Basically 30 to everything. 2 attacks with Ting-Lu, and literally everything is in Brute Bonnet range. I'm just saying, this could be absolutely absurd. I adore this Brute Bonnet. Yeah, it's a bit expensive. All right, it definitely is a little bit expensive. I get that it's a little bit expensive. I acknowledge that it's a little bit expensive. It is a little bit expensive. But we have ways to build it. We saw Roaring Moon do well at the European International Championships this weekend. And having a single prize Pokemon that can KO literally anything while only giving up one prize in return, it's one more energy than Roaring Moon, the single prizer. And sure, you do have a bit of setup. I understand you've got a bit of setup. I don't really care. Because also, just before we finish here, because I have been talking about how much I love this card quite a lot, but I don't even care, it's that gosh darn good, even the poison can be quite nice. Because we actually do have a stadium that works very nicely with the poison. Perilous Jungle. During Pokemon Checkup, put 2 more damage counters on each poison non-darkness Pokemon. Yet remember how I said you need 5 damage counters to put anything in range of this? Poison puts 1. Radiant Hisuian Sneasler. Perilous Jungle. All of a sudden now that's 5 damage counters. Whatever you just hit is in range of your next Brute Bonnet. Or you just use it as a stadium to discard with Ting Lu to do the spread damage. See where I'm going here? Ting Lu, Brute Bonnet, Roaring Moon. This is my kind of deck, and I'm hyped, ladies and gentlemen. I am legitimately hyped. See me playing this when all this drops and is legal. I'm giving it between 4 and 5 Wassies. When I give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. I honestly, legitimately think this card is amazing. And if you disagree, that's fine. Let me know why in the comment section. I think this card could be an absolute game changer. And just quickly before we get to Iron Bundle, I want to remind you guys, tomorrow, 8 p.m. UK time, check with Google where that is for you guys. We are going to be doing a big Whatnot stream, a big PTCG Radio Whatnot stream, selling a whole bunch of singles and other cool stuff, and giving away a bunch of EUIC merch. So, yeah, it's not just for people who buy stuff. It's not geographically locked or anything like that. Anyone who comes into the stream to hang can win some EUIC merch. Sounds like fun, right? Tomorrow, Whatnot. 8 p.m. Check the link in the description for invite code that'll get you £10 credit. So how about Iron Bundle? Because the last Iron Bundle we got has legitimately been a game changer. Forces your opponent to switch their active Pokemon. Great card. Already seeing a bunch of play now that Temporal Forces is legal for tournament play. So the question is this new one any good? Could this new one be a big deal? And also, yes, I am fully aware that it's not from Temporal Forces, the old one. I know the old one is actually from Paradox Rift, but it didn't really see any play in the Paradox Rift meta. It is seeing a lot of play in the Temporal Forces meta. So what do we actually have here then? Well, we've got ourselves a small little Pokemon, 90 HP, 2 energy, 60 damage, and switch this Pokemon with one of your bench. If you do, your opponent switches their active with one of their bench. Couple little ruling queries. Number 1, your opponent has to switch if you do. Number 2, your opponent chooses what their new active Pokemon is. Number 3, you have to switch if you can. It says, switch this Pokemon with one of your bench, not you may. However, if you don't have any bench, then obviously you cannot switch, and if you do not switch, your opponent doesn't have to either. So you have to switch if you can, and if you do, your opponent has to switch, and they choose which one becomes active. I don't like this as much as I like the Brute Bonnet I just showed you, which shouldn't really surprise anyone. I was pretty effusive in my praise for Brute Bonnet. I think that Brute Bonnet is absolutely redonkulous, and yeah, it's a great card. This one, it's not as good, all right? I'm not pretending it's as good. It's not. 2 energy, 60 damage is honestly a little bit annoying because 70 damage is the base number you generally need to be KOing support Pokemon and evolving basics. 70 is a key number in the Pokemon TCG. 60's time has passed, frankly. 60 is not a terribly important number anymore. So you're not really doing the amount of damage we're looking for. In terms of getting the second energy on that, I mean, look, we've got Miraidon, which we know is good. We've got Reboot Pod, which we know is good. Look, making your opponent switch their active is nice, and I love that Iron Bundle has got a nice little thing going on. Iron Bundle makes your opponent switch. The last one did, this one does. And I kind of like that. I like that he's got his thing going on. But you're not getting enough of a KO. And sure, you're forcing your opponent to switch, and that can be annoying. But there is exactly one reason to really take this seriously, and that's Iron Thorns. That is a nice combo here. I'm not talking about the ones we've already had. I'm talking about the EX, which is coming in Twilight Masquerade, which will be the same set for us. This one, actually, yeah, I get it. Because that one, when it's active, Rulebox Pokemon other than future Pokemon have no abilities. So that's what you do here. You essentially use this, do 60, switch into Iron Forms, but make your opponent switch as well, which is annoying. And then their Rulebox Pokemon lose their abilities, which is also annoying. And hopefully you'll be alright. To be fair, Future Booster Energy Capsule is going to be the tool that you really need for Iron Bundle here, because that does actually put you from 60 up to 80 damage, which is key. Then you are getting those key KOs, and then you're switching into Iron Thorns, which is amazing, but also free retreat. So essentially you hit with Iron Bundle, Iron Thorns goes active, but then has a Future Booster Energy Capsule for free retreat. So I'm still giving this one, let's give between 3 and 4 Wassies. When I give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. It is a decent card if you use it with Iron Thorns. That is it. That is the only situation in which I like it. Otherwise, I don't like the 2 energy. I don't think it's good enough. I think it's actually kind of annoying. But if you specifically use it to switch and then block your opponent's abilities, while also making them switch, yeah, you know what? That I can get on board with. I still think Brute Bonnet is the better of the two, but I do think Iron Bundle is kind of cool, and you know what? That's not nothing. Right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you need to know, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these cards. Tell me if you like Brute Bonnet as much as I do. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. I get shout outs on the channel like the lovely Andy White, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.